Functions review, questions 3 and 4. For question number 3, it says plot a point on the graph so that the relation is not a function. Then write the ordered pair. Well, this has many different answers, so your answers will vary. In other words, they want you to plot a point on this graph so it would fail the vertical line test. Remember, in order to be a function, it must pass the vertical line test. So if we want it to not be a function, then we want to plot a point so it fails the vertical line test. In other words, I could put a point anywhere on this line. I could put a point anywhere on this one, anywhere here, anywhere here, here. Oops. Here or here. So I could put a point anywhere on those except for where the point already is, and it would then make it fail the vertical line test. So let me give you an example. I might plot a point right here. By plotting a point right there, if I draw a vertical line, it does not pass the vertical line test. And because it doesn't pass the vertical line test, it would make it not a function. So then my final answer would be the ordered pair 2, 1, because I went over 2 and up 1. Let me give you another example. I could plot the point, how about right here? By doing so, these 2 points fall on the same vertical line, so that would not pass the vertical line test. So that ordered pair is -2, -2. Now, on the test, you need to be careful because on the test, it may ask you to keep it a function. And if we want to keep it a function, then you're going to have to plot the point somewhere on a line that does not already have a point. So if I wanted to keep this a function, I might have to plot a point right here. That would keep it a function. If I plotted a point here, that would keep it a function. Notice how there's no points on that line. So be careful because on the test, it may ask you to keep it a function. If it does, then you want it to pass the vertical line test. Question number 4. The graph shows the lengths x and the weights y of a fish that were caught and released in Lake Racetown. Isabel caught a fish that was 5 inches long and weighed 7.5 pounds. Add this fish to the graph. Does the graph represent a function? Explain. All right, now before we get started, I know I had a fishing expert one time tell me that this made 0 sense, and you're right. It was supposed to say 7.5 ounces. So I get that this is not a possible fish for it to only be 5 inches long and weigh 7.5 pounds. So just don't worry about that part. Just know that we're going to graph it at 5 inches long and 7.5 pounds. So we're going to go to our graph. I'm going to go over to 5 inches. And then up to 7.5. And halfway between 5 and 10 is 7.5. So over 5 inches and up to 7.5. Okay, so that's where my point is. Does this pass the vertical line test now? Because there are 2 points on that vertical line right there, would it pass the vertical line test? No. And because it does not pass the vertical line test, that would make this not a function. So my final answer for this is the graph does not represent a function because it does not pass the vertical line test. This one is not a function because it does not pass the vertical line test. Now on the test, you need to be careful. On the test, you might be plotting a point where it would pass the vertical line test. And if that's the case, your answer would be the graph does represent a function because it does pass the vertical line test. So again, for question 4 though, because I have this point, 2 points on one vertical line, it would fail the vertical line test, and therefore it is not a function. If you have any questions on questions 3 and 4, let me know.